All right, great. Welcome everyone to the FLG web series on our showcases. We're going to talk a lot about how they can help you, how showcases, lacrosse showcases in general can help you. We're going to talk a little bit about prospect days later in the presentation. And we'll talk about some different concepts in terms of getting recruited as a high school age lacrosse player for both boys and girls. Before we get into the presentation, we first just want to make sure everyone knows about the chat section on GoToMeeting. So on the right side, you'll see a little down arrow next to the left side of the word chat. If you click that, you'll see a little panel where you can type in questions to us over here at the FLG headquarters, and we'll make sure to answer those questions throughout the presentation. If we don't get to the question right away, we may have made sure over here to record them. We'll answer them towards the end of the presentation, but we'll do our best to get them answered right as soon as you ask them. So that's important. Make sure you guys can hear us. That's really important, and make sure that you guys have strong Wi-Fi and internet connection so that way you can see the presentation that we're going to kind of show you here and take you through that. All right, so again, any questions, please ask us through the chat section. This is a one-way street in terms of audio, so hopefully you guys can just hear us and not the background noise of anyone else. And I hope you guys enjoy the presentation here. All right, so here we go, the FLG web series. And if you notice here, we have 4 logos on the top that all represent our individual showcases that we run at FLG. We'll get into each of those showcases in detail. From left to right, we have the Boys Premier Showcase, the Girls Premier Showcase, the FLG Legit Boys, and the FLG Legit Girls. All right, moving forward here. Please bear with us. There we go to the next slide. Probably the right arrow. Okay, great. So the first thing we want to do is just quickly brief you guys on the FLG staff. These 6 members right here are full-time employees of FLG. Bob Jahelka, Mike Winkoff are founders of FLG Lacrosse, and we actually have Mike right here sitting next to me on board with us tonight. Mike, is heavily involved in recruiting process on the boys and girls side for both FLG athletes and the thousands of kids that come through our tournaments and showcases as well. I'm one of the program directors here at FLG. I do a lot of different things in regards to helping with the recruiting process and also coaching, marketing, and do a lot of stuff in terms of curriculum. Robin Pastuch, who is also on board with us tonight in a satellite location, and she is a club director as well with FLG, with a heavy concentration on building and helping our girls program with the recruiting process, coaching, curriculums, and all that good stuff. Matt Gercio is on board with us tonight. He's the director of ops and our events coordinator. He's heavily involved in making sure that our program is running fluidly and our company is running technically sound. He's also responsible for overseeing a lot of the employees that come through and work our events during the summer months, especially, and also in the off season. We have Brandon Mangan on board tonight as well. He's a coach in the program, works with us full time, and is heavily involved in our events. He also is a sales and marketing analyst for FLG, and we're excited to have him on board and working with us here tonight. All right, moving forward here, we have our premier and legit showcases by the numbers. Okay, so these are just some numbers that tie into what we do at FLG and tie into our individual showcases. Studleets, all right, that's a term that we coined here at FLG, which is similar to a student athlete. The only difference is we like to say that studleets are players that utilize concepts they learn in school and apply them to the field and do the same thing, applying things they learn in the field and apply it to the classroom. So we like to mention how we have 1,500 studleets. That basically means throughout all the individual showcases we run, we have at least 1,500 boys and girls coming through our events. So a lot of athletes. We have over 200 college coaches in attendance. We just started these events last year, and in our first year on the boys and girls side, we had that many coaches. This year, we'll get into the details, but we hire tons of college coaches for our events because it's all about exposure and giving a lot of opportunity to the players at our events. So depending on the showcase, we have anywhere from 80 to 120 boys and girls per grade at our event. We don't like to go below that. We don't really like to go above that. We do that for a reason, which we'll get into a little later in the presentation. But those are, even, nice, workable numbers that we kind of have figured out in terms of allowing us to run successful events. We hire high school coaches from all over the East Coast and even the country, prep school and high school, to work our events. Predominantly for our 3-day showcases, which we'll talk about, we like to hire high school coaches to work with our players. And we also have college players working with our, working with our student athletes at our showcases. So we have female and male student athletes at the college level that also play lacrosse that will be working our events. We have 10 full-time FLG staff members at the at the height of our busy season, and if you include some of the part-time workers, we have hundreds of members coming and working with us. And at our showcases, we run everything out of one facility, which we'll talk about in a second. We have 4 fields, which is really nice because we keep it intimate. There's not tons of fields, millions of players for coaches to see. It's all in a small secluded area, which we like and the college coaches like especially. All right, now let's elaborate on those 4 fields we just mentioned. And hold on one second here. And let's talk about the facility that we run our showcases out of. So this is a kind of a aerial view of LIU Post, which is a small D2 school located on the western part of Long Island, Nassau County, in Brookville, New York. So we have 3 grass fields all next to one another. They're beautiful varsity grass fields. And then there's 1 stadium field kind of in the top right. All these fields are literally within 30 to 20-second walk from one another. This is great so college coaches can easily walk from one field to another. It's also really nice that we have 4 fields because at our showcases, we have 4 different age groups. We have rising freshmen all the way up to rising seniors for all 4 of our events, meaning that each age group is going to have their own field. So college coaches know exactly where the 2020s will be. They know exactly where those 2019s will be. They know exactly where the 2018s will be. And we like to feature our 2017s on the stadium field. Because while a lot of the events out there just concentrate on the rising freshmen and sophomores, we feel that the 2017s also deserve the right to be featured because there's tons of good schools out there that are still looking to recruit that age group. And we want those players to get recruited first because they're closest to going to college. And that's why we do that. So we feature the 17s a lot on the stadium field. Now, don't get me wrong. We feature our rising freshmen and sophomores, especially at our 3-day event. We have AllStar Games where we have every coach at the event working, which we'll get into. But for the most part, that's kind of how we structure who plays on what field. Anything you want to highlight on that before we move on, Coach Wink?
Now, one of the things that we talk about all the time when we evaluate the success of a good showcase is making sure that we have a wide range of schools at that event. And we're not just talking Division 1, 2, and 3 because we like to drop the D's. We're talking about all levels academically, high-level schools, and we even have a lot of club programs that recruit. University of Texas, which is a great club program. UC Santa Barbara was there last year. So we want to give the student athlete the opportunity to evaluate the best college choice for themselves. It's not just about lacrosse. It's about what's the best choice for that young man or young woman.
So that's a great point there. And just kind of going back to the specifics of this location, LIU Post, again, it's only like 15 to 20 miles from the bridges when you cross over onto Long Island. So it's easy access for the tri-state area families and coaches that are coming to recruit and parents coming to have their athlete play. And it's also not too far from a couple airports, which is nice for, we have, tons of kids coming from different states, boys and girls, to our events. So it's easy for them to get to the facility. In terms of getting players from the airports, that's something that if you want us to help you out with, please reach out to us personally. We're very accommodating in that regard. We want to make sure to make it easy for the athletes to get to the facilities, especially if they're not with their parents. So keep that in mind as you travel from out of state to our events. All right, moving forward here, let's talk a little bit about the college coaches. We're going to focus right now on our 1-day event. the college coaches that have come to our one-day event. This list, as you can see, is pretty expansive. Included in this list is both all the boys coaches and girls coaches that came to our premier showcase last year. And we've also included coaches that we have on board to work our 2016 FLG showcase, the premier event, boys and girls, this year. So we have a lot of the same coaches from last year coming this year, but we're actually planning on hiring about double the amount this year. I think based on the talent that was at our showcases last year, and based on the experience that the college coaches had last year, we have a lot of those same male and female coaches coming back, and we have a lot of new schools on board because we want to give our players more exposure than at our events. We understand that that's what these showcases are all about. So that's what we want to do, is hire more coaches and get more coaches on board to work the event. So if you want a detailed list on who's working what event, boys premiere, girls, boys showcase, girls showcase, this year, last year, let us know. We can email that to you. Now for the boys premiere showcase, and we'll start with that one, and we'll get into the girls premiere showcase next. We actually hire 3 college coaches per team. So what we do at our event is we have 4 teams per age group, in the rising freshmen to rising seniors, and we have 3 college coaches on each team. So that means those coaches will be with your team throughout the day. You're going to play 3 games, and those coaches will be with you for those 3 games. Those college coaches, when they're not coaching you, are responsible for recruiting all the other players at the event. Those coaches aren't hanging out and going off campus to go get lunch. Those coaches aren't driving back to their schools when they're done coaching. They're on the sidelines recruiting. We hire 56 college coaches for the boys premier to work the event. So not only are they coaching, those coaches are also recruiting when they're not, and they're also evaluating the players, because any player that comes to our showcase will get a written evaluation, compliments of Lacrosse Recruits, that the college coaches put together. So that's something that comes in your email after the event is concluded. So that's a nice feature, and that's something that we have the college coaches do to keep them more invested in the event. So our boys event is on Saturday, June 4th. And again, we have some of the top uncommitted rising freshmen to rising seniors, 4 teams per age group, with about 22 players on each team. A really nice point about this showcase and why it benefits a lot of players is because it's the weekend right after Memorial Day, which is when all the Division 1, 2, and 3 colleges are finished up. So because all those schools are finished and the national championships are done on the boys' side, the coaches are eager to start recruiting. They want to come out to the boys' premier showcase to start building their list of who they want to track throughout the summer. They want to come see kids that have been emailing them since probably February, January, and they want to come see some of the best uncommitted players, so that way they can kind of get ahead of the game and get ahead of some of their competitors or of other schools in their conference, and sorts of that. So that's kind of the gist of the boys' premier showcase and how the college coaches are involved. Our girls' premier showcase, which is actually the day right after, is going to be Sunday, June 5th. The structure of our girls' premier is very similar to our boys' premier in that we bring in 80 of the top uncommitted 2020s all the way up to the 2017s. We have at the most 20 players per team, and the girls will be playing in 3 games throughout the day. Again, we hired 3 college coaches per team. We're going to have about 56 college coaches on staff, Division 1, 2, and 3, from the girls' ranks, coming to coach the girls up in those 3 games, coming to recruit when they're not coaching, and also coming to evaluate the girls, so that way when they leave, 2 weeks later they get an email, or a week later they get an email saying, hey, these are some things you need to work on in your game. These are some things that you looked really good at. Our coaches that work our events, our boys and our girls premier, come a night before, and we all meet as a staff. We have about 60 college coaches. We got some club coaches that are actually on our call here tonight and are welcome to join us and network with other colleges. We have them in a room. More important than anything, it's a great opportunity to network and kind of talk to one another and talk about the players that are going to be at our events. But most importantly, we want to tell our college coaches what we expect of them the next day. And a big part of what we expect of them in terms of working our event is filling out detailed evaluations on each player, because feedback is very, very important, right? It's a really nice opportunity to be coached by 3 college coaches at a showcase. What's even better is to get feedback from those 3 college coaches, so you know why you got 20 emails, or you know why you only got 2. right? So feedback is something that you should use to improve your game, get better, and it's something that you can even use. We have players that have committed to schools over the last year or two that use in their highlight video. If it's something positive, that's something worth sharing with the world. If it's something that you feel is a little, constructive, take that personally and use that to get better. Anything else you want to elaborate on here, Coach Wink?
No, I think that you made some very good points. It's ironic. I know a lot of you saw last weekend the ESPN piece on the new boys Division I program, Hampton University down in Virginia. And if you go on to Inside Lacrosse, they just grabbed a really top recruit from Ohio. You can go and watch his video, JP Napier, and he puts his legit evaluation right at the beginning of his highlight film, because obviously he was evaluated by the college coaches as a very high level player, and now he's committed to go play at a great new lacrosse program at Hampton.
Absolutely. So again, use this information, this feedback that we're giving you in any way you want. It's up to you. Another big draw for college coaches at our premier showcases and at other events that are out there, but especially ours, we know because we're doing this on a day-to-day basis, is we're working with other club, most importantly high school coaches and even college coaches working our event to get nominations. That's how we invite players. About 99% of the players at the event are nominated. We do open up registration. That's something that we do, but most of the players that come to our event are nominated. So that keeps the talent level up, and it also allows us to know that players are uncommitted that are coming to our showcases. We want all the players out there running around on the fields to be people that these college coaches can recruit. That's really, really important to us. So to keep the talent level up, we have a lot of nominations coming in. That's how we invite our players. College coaches love that because they know they're coming to see some really high-level players that are uncommitted that they can recruit. So moving forward here, we're going to talk about Lacrosse Recruits, which is an online platform and recruiting tool that we use that's built by former college lacrosse players. It helps high school age players kind of market themselves to college coaches online. And listen, we use Lacrosse Recruits because we feel that they have a really nice product. There's a lot of other software out there similar to Lacrosse Recruits. If you're on them, that's great. The most important thing is that you use them, right? They have a lot of great tools on all these sites, but if you don't use them and you're not proactive, it's not really going to help you. So what we're going to talk about is how our relationship at Lacrosse Recruits can help you as a potential recruit, can help you as a family, can help you as a club coach that are possibly on the call here tonight, kind of running your own events. So to kind of dive into this here, Lacrosse Recruits has an HD camera filming every single field at every single one of our events. So for our premiere, we have those 4 fields running. Any single game that's being played out there, not the practices, but the games, will have an HD camera at the 50-yard line filming, quality footage. That's really, really important. It's unfortunate, but there's a lot of events out there that just kind of just throw a camera up there that's, only a couple $100, and, a little bit of rain comes and that screws everything up. It's fuzzy. You can't really see the numbers on the jerseys. You can't tell who is who. Lacrosse Recruits takes a lot of pride in the cameras that they use, in the videographers that they use, the scaffolding that they set up, where they locate the camera. All these things, there's a thought process behind it, and they do a really nice job with that. So we provided a package up front that you can purchase in order to save some money on the footage of your son or daughter playing. I recommend you do that if you don't have film already. If you do have film, that's great. That's a decision that you guys can make as a family. So another thing Lacrosse Recruits does, which we love, is a 1-hour recruiting seminar for both parents and also players at the event. This presentation will be taking place in the morning before you even start any games. They talk about how to utilize online platforms to market yourself online. They talk about the importance of highlight videos. They talk about how and what to say to college coaches. They talk about all these different things, stats that will kind of blow your mind in regards to kids that are proactive versus kids that kind of sit back in the recruiting process today. So all these things you should kind of pay attention to and take advantage of when you see online there. So Lacrosse Recruits, their staff will be on board, which is awesome. Literally one of the co-founders is usually there the whole time. So he's there, just basically just educating people. He's literally running these recruiting seminars himself. But most importantly, he's answering questions, and he's there for you guys. Lacrosse Recruits also has a cool thing called Event Beacon. which basically allows college coaches to kind of go into an event seeing who has already shown interest in their school, and that now allows the college coach to go kind of easily track where those players are at the event. So if 10 different players say, hey, I really want to come to your school, and I'm the coach over at Hampton College, well, that allows that coach at Hampton College to look at the schedule up front, decide when and where he's going to go check out those specific 10 players that are really interested in his school. That's a great way for college coaches to organize their recruiting process. So that's a really nice feature that they do, and allows coaches to kind of target specific recruits. And that's kind of a crux of what Lacrosse Recruits does, and that's kind of why we use them. Anything else you want to highlight with the Lacrosse Recruits guys and using them for our events?
Well, we just had a question come from somebody. Mango, you want to read that question out loud?
Speak further of class of 2017 opportunities set in the marketplace and how your tourneys stack up in drawing coaches.
Okay. I think that's a great question. One of the things we've noticed with the recruiting showcases that are out there, and there are a lot of great recruiting showcases out there, is that they don't spend time on the student athlete that is at the end of his recruiting years. We believe that that's where a lot of your time has to be spent, because they're now going into their senior year, and it's their last opportunity to be seen by college lacrosse coaches. So we have tons of coaches at all levels that are still recruiting that last class. This year, it's going to be the 2017 class. So we make sure that we highlight that class, and we have schools there that are obviously recruiting those kids. I mean, there's going to be schools there that are so-called done with that class, but through the process, a lot of these programs, they lose student athletes that either their academics drop or their financial aid package doesn't come through. So there's spots that open up throughout the summer. So we give the opportunity for those 2017 student athletes at our events, and it gives them a lot more opportunities than maybe at some events where they don't even have those grades at their showcases.
There's also a lot of great events out there throughout the summer for 2017 players or rising seniors. And fortunately, a lot of the programs that go to those events throughout the summer, and a lot of the colleges that goes to those events throughout the summer, are at our showcase. So I'll give you an example. The New England Top 150 is a 3-day showcase type camp that takes place in the middle of the summer, and a lot of the NESCAC schools are at that event. We have a lot of NESCAC schools at our showcase as well. So our event's a really nice opportunity, the one-day showcase, for those NESCAC schools to start tracking some of those 2017 players, and then maybe go on and see them at different points of the summer, whether it be at the New England Top 150 or at a prospect day or at a tournament that you're playing with your club team. Okay, or another example on the girls' side, Elite 180 is a really nice event that is up at Keene with a lot of the NESCAC schools. And if you come to the Girls Premier Showcase, we got a good amount of those NESCAC schools, those high-level Division III programs that are targeting 17s, to come track you, watch you, see you play, like you, and hopefully go watch you throughout the summer. So that's a big area of focus that we have, is have a lot of those top programs from the Division I, II, and III, or especially the Division II and III schools, making sure they're at our showcase and they're watching you guys. We also do different things to highlight players, especially on the 2017 level. We have String King most consistent players of the game. We have Maverick most valuable players of the game. We do write-ups. We feature players through our social media accounts, and we especially focus on that rising senior class to allow you to highlight, kind of yourself, and use it in any way you want to kind of market yourself to all those great schools. All right, moving forward, we're going to kind of move away from the one-day showcases that we run, and we are going to kind of move towards our legit showcase series that we actually run, which on the boys' side is at the end of June. It's Monday, June 27th to Wednesday, June 29th, and our girls' events run during the week of July 4th. It's Tuesday, July 5th to Thursday, July 7th. Now, here are very similar to what we did for the Premier, a list of all the schools that have come to legit showcases in the past and schools that we have on board for 2016. Again, a wide range, Division I, II, and III. We got some SUNY schools. We got some private schools, right? We got some state schools. We got some of the best universities. We got some of the great small colleges. So we like that variety, so it appeals to different types of players. The top rising freshmen and sophomores. Those under the radar 2018s and 2017s. All these schools appeal to those types of people. Now, the college coaches and their responsibilities at the 3-day event are different than the 1-day showcase. The college coaches at the 3-day event run a 2-hour training session ran by the college coaches. Any person that's working the event, we hire 40 to 50 coaches on the girls' side, 50 to 60 coaches on the boys' side. And those coaches run a 2-hour training session, an 1.5-hour training session to open up the event, which is a really nice opportunity to get coached up by basically great coaches from all these great schools. And then instead of coaching teams at this event, the college coaches actually referee all the games. We have 2 to 3 college coaches refereeing every single game at any point. And that's a really nice way for coaches to get their eyes on the athletes. It's a nice way for coaches to kind of control the tempo of the games. It's a nice way for coaches to see what they want to see. It's also a great way for players to get eyes from all different types of schools. We have coaches bouncing from field to field at every half, so there's a nice opportunity to get seen, and there's also a really nice opportunity to get seen by a bunch of different schools, which we really like. The last thing that the college coaches do at the legit showcases is they actually pick the all-star teams for the second night. So on the boys' side and on the girls' side, we pick the top 80 players between the rising freshmen, rising sophomores, and then rising juniors, rising seniors. They play in an all-star game on the second night. It'll be commentated. It's live streamed. We'll talk about the details later, but most importantly, that's going to be picked by those college coaches. We also have a legit all-star committee that oversees it and works with the college coaches to make sure we're picking the right players. But the beauty of our all-star selection process is it comes from college coaches and what they see. It comes, and the selection process comes from players that do a really nice job at the event. And another beautiful thing about the all-star game, too, is all these college coaches that work our showcase, again, are at the all-star game. College coaches don't just come, they referee a game, and go back to their school. They're there for the 2.5 days, which is big. Anything else you want to highlight on there, Coach?
Yeah, I want to talk about the All-Star Game real quick because last year I thought it was a pretty cool experience. Last year at the boys' legit event, this year it's our first year with the girls' legit event, and the girls' college coaches had asked us to have the 3-day event for the girls. They thought it would be a great experience for the recruits. But one of the experience I thought was really cool is that we had 22 states represented. So obviously we all know the game is growing, exponentially at the high school level. In our all-star games, in the 16-17 game, the defensive MVP was a young man, a goalie from Team Minnesota, Patrick Jackson, who later committed to RIT. And then in our 18-19 all-star game, we had the offensive MVP was a young man from True who was from Kansas. So it just shows you how the game has grown and the level of play is so good all around the country. I mean, that warms my heart for someone who loves the game. And to see all these great lacrosse players all over the country, it's a really cool thing for the college coaches because obviously college coaches don't have the budgets to fly all over the country, but they can come to one place and see kids from all over the country and great level play.
All right, great. So I guess we'll dive into the details a little bit of our legit showcase event, and this is a little more like it's like a camp experience. There's a lot that goes into it. We invest a lot of time and money to making sure that the boys and girls have a nice experience because that's really what it's all about. It's about the player enjoying themselves. It's about the players getting better. It's about the players getting exposure. And we feel the same way about the college coaches that work the events as well. So again, this event's towards the end of June. We run it at LIU Post on those same 4 fields. We have 2020s all the way up to 2017s. So that means we have rising freshmen to rising seniors, and we have players on each field. So that way it's easy for the college coaches to know who's where. It's easy for the players to know exactly what fields they're on. And throughout the camp, the players they'll get that 1.5-hour training session. They'll play in 4 games with the possibility of playing in that all-star game on the second night. We do play to a championship, so we do have champions that are crowned, which is pretty cool. And there's some extracurriculars too, which we'll dive into in a second. So on the girls' side, the event is run very similar, different time frame though. During July 4th week, Tuesday the 5th to the 7th at LIU Post, that same location, those same 4 fields, those same 4 age groups, keeping the template and this, how we run our showcase very similar. Some of the top uncommitted players coming into the event, Last year, over 22 states represented with the Legit Showcase Series, and we expect to kind of have that number grow. And obviously, we have a lot of really good players from Long Island, the tri-state area, which is typical. But we like to see more players from different areas as well, which we're starting to see already in terms of who's kind of jumping on board here for the 2016 Legit events. So we're going to dive into the gear that's given out for the boys showcase and the girls showcase. For the boys event, we're sponsored by Cascade Maverick. So each player gets a custom platinum Cascade R helmet. Each player gets custom Cascade Maverick M3 gloves. That's the color scheme that you'll see there on the right side. Every player is going to get a legit head wrap, decals. You'll see as well in the picture. They get tons of soft goods apparel, the shorts, the t-shirt, the penny, sponsored by PowerTech, which is the performance gear company that we use, and they do an awesome job. On the girls' side, we're actually also sponsored by Cascade Maverick for our event. So we give each girl a pair of Cascade Carolina goggles, which are pretty sweet. They're the poly air goggles, I believe. They get custom head wraps, which you'll see on the right side there with the Legit logo. We also have each girl getting a stick. So the new Erupt stick that's coming out by Maverick, which is awesome. It's a complete stick that they can start using right away. They can use it as their backup third stick, or maybe just use it as a stick to, when they get home and get more comfortable using. And they also get all the same soft good apparel that the boys get. So that's the gear that's given out at both our Legit showcases. And again, moving through the Legit experience, this is something that we do on the first night of our Legit event. This year we have Matt Mayer coming to speak about decision-making, responsibility, and the dangers of drinking and driving. And that's just part of, it's part of the discussion. That's an overall broad topic there, but it's about an hour-long presentation that we have the whole camp attend. Most importantly, he's extremely motivating. He's extremely well-spoken. He's extremely intelligent. He's extremely empathetic. He's extremely educational, and that's the most important thing. We want players at our events, boys and girls, to come away saying, wow, this was more than just a lacrosse camp where they rolled the ball out and we played a bunch of games. We want this to be an experience where they're like, wow, I think I need to evaluate my decision-making process at certain points in my life. I need to make sure that I'm keeping my grades up. I need to make sure I'm more proactive on the online perspective, on the online front. After hearing about what Lacrosse Recruits has to say, I want to leave saying, oh, I got better. I learned something. I want to leave saying, hey, I got some feedback. I want to use that feedback to get better. And then most importantly, to get some exposure. But, Matt Mayer speaking is a piece. It's a big piece. It's one thing they do, but it's a big piece of what we do in order to give a really great experience at the Legit event. We also have Lacrosse Recruits doing a brief presentation on the recruiting process. It's not as extensive as the one-day one. It's about a half hour. It's just giving to the players naturally because the parents, will drop their players off and they'll be there watching that presentation. So kind of continuing on the Legit experience and how it's more than just kind of a lacrosse camp. On the girls' side, we do something pretty awesome, which is award players bracelets that mean different things throughout the event. For example, we have our Wear 19 bracelet that you'll see right there. Pura Vida, which is a bracelet company that we use. They donate a lot of proceeds to basically making this world a better place, which is why we support them. But also, we've created a red Wear 19 bracelet to demonstrate, and also kind of resemble a man who he feels a true American hero, Wells Crowther. He's a gentleman who kind of risked his life to save a lot of people during 9/11, during the terrorist attacks when the World Trade Centers were going down. So we do something in the FLG program where we give a red 19 jersey out to each team. We don't give the 19 number out to any players in the FLG select program. And basically players in our program, FLG, can earn that 19 jersey after a hard week of practice, after being a good leader, after getting better, listening to their coaches. And we're kind of bringing that concept into our Legit event. So a young lady can earn that red bracelet. We're only giving a couple of them out, so each team will only maybe have one or two. A young lady can earn that bracelet because of her selflessness, because of how hard she's playing, because of basically how well she's listening. All those great things that Wells resembled is something that those players can earn those bracelets for. And then on the guy side, they can earn that little Wear 19, WC 19 sticker / decal to put on their helmet. So another thing we do is a legit bracelet and a legit decal. So what does that mean? So legit doesn't mean you do something really sick. You shoot underhand and you miss the cage by 3 feet, or you throw a behind the back pass unnecessarily. That's not what legit means. Legit means playing hard. Legit means showing grit. Legit means encompassing intangibles that maybe can't be measured, such as, we talk about selflessness, but more importantly, maybe about effort, maybe about discipline, things along those lines. So that's how you earn a legit sticker, and that's how you earn a legit bracelet at this camp. So another one we have going on is the Jack Sandler sticker, which is unfortunately a coach over at Colby. He was the head coach who just passed away, and this man just embodied passion for the sport, love for the game, which is what we're all about. So that sticker and bracelet will go to the boy or girl who basically just embodies the passion for the sport. So why do we do this? I guess that's the big question. And a big reason that we give out these bracelets and a big reason that we give out these decals is so that the high school coaches and the college kids that are working with the teams at the Legit Showcase can get to know their players. This is a really nice way for coaches to figure out who's got these intangibles, who's playing hard, who's the playmaker, who's the best player, who's stepping up, who's doing the legit things, who's passionate. It's also a good way for the college players to recognize that as well. It's also a nice way for the players at the camp to be awarded for something more than just scoring the most goals or having the most assists or being in the stat book. It's a nice way for these players to be awarded for doing the intangibles that we talk about, the things that we consider legit. Again, legit is not about looking cool on the field. Legit is about playing the game the right way, embodying grit, the cornerstones that we talk about, passion, right? We talk about discipline, effort, enthusiasm, all those great things. That's what being legit is all about. So players can be awarded for that. Now, another reason that we love this is so that college coaches can see who the most legit players are, right? A college coach walks by and a girl's got her wrist lined with bracelets. Why is that? Well, most likely she's been playing the game the right way. Her coaches are awarding her for doing that, and she's a quality player. Same thing if a kid has his whole helmet filled with decals on the sides. There's a reason that we don't put any stickers on the side of the helmet. We want that to be a blank canvas to fill it up with decals. We want players to work hard in order to earn those decals, be awarded for their outstanding play, and for college coaches to recognize that. So that's a big reason that we do these things, and we make this a legit experience for the players. And with the All-Star bracelet and the sticker, if you make the All-Star game, you will get a bracelet and a sticker as well, which is a pretty cool thing that we started last year and that we're going to continue to do. Anything else, Coach Wink, you want to highlight on that?
The only thing I want to say is anybody that's on this on the webinar and doesn't know about Jack Sandler, Google him, learn about what a wonderful man and a passionate man he was to the game of lacrosse. Same thing with Wells. Google the man in the red bandana and watch the 13-minute video that ESPN did on Wells Crowther. Those two videos and those two biographies will tell you a lot about what the legit experience is and really what the FLG experience is.
All right, so we talked about the All-Star game. If anyone has any specific questions about the game, feel free to reach out and let us know. We're almost done here in terms of finalizing the presentation. We wanted to kind of take a step back away from our events. I'm not, whether you came on tonight to learn about our events or showcases in general, we want to make sure you got out, we want to make sure you got the most out of this presentation as you possibly can. So we thought it would be worthwhile to talk about the difference between prospect days and individual showcases. This is a question that comes up a lot as we talk to parents through the recruiting process, as we're on the phones talking to potential student athletes or studleads that come to our showcases. And basically, our philosophy is to get players in front of as many coaches as possible, cast a big net, and allow those players to shine on that stage so that way they can get as many opportunities and looks as possible so they can start targeting and zeroing in on the schools that work for them. That's what it's all about. Now, don't get me wrong. Do we have any random school coming to our event / do we hire any random school to work our event? No, we don't. There's definitely a lot of thought behind who we hire to work our showcases. Can any coach show up from any school? Absolutely. Right? Anyone's welcome to show up and recruit at our showcase. But who we hire, is really important to us. But most importantly, we do want to have a lot of coaches so that way the players at the event have a lot of exposure. Right? There's a reason we have it on 4 fields. There's a reason we don't only have, at the most 80 players at our one day. Maybe 120 players at our 3-day event. We want to make sure that players are getting a lot of opportunities. Now, at prospect days, there's some really good prospect days out there where there's a lot of different schools at the event. And those events, in our opinion, you should be going to. Now, we threw a bunch of random logos out there, Duke, Limestone. We don't know anything about their prospect days. They could be great. They could be not. But most importantly, do your research. Before you go to one of those schools, even if it's a school you're really interested in, you want to see if there's other schools there that might recruit. Sometimes, Duke might have a prospect day and other ACC schools might be at the event. I think that's, more worthwhile when you have other schools from that conference there, right? You might go to Drew and there might be just the Drew staff there. That's great. If you're interested in Drew, that's always nice to play in front of those schools, but it's not great opportunity when there's only one school and there's 120 kids. It's great opportunity when there's 50 schools and there's 120 kids in an age group or in 2 age groups. Now, we feel that a quality prospect day means you're going to a school and you're living a day in a life as a Mercy Laker or as a Limestone, if you know their
Saints. I think they're the Saints.
As the Limestone Saints.
Right?
If you show up at Limestone and a typical day at Limestone is longboarding over the beach, surfing for 2 hours, then coming in, taking a nap, getting some lunch, heading over to practice, taking a late class, maybe getting a study hall in, then I think the prospect day should consist of all those things. And if Limestone does that, and that's all the things that a student athlete at Limestone does, then I think that's a home run in terms of what a prospect day is all about. If you go to a Mercy prospect day and their typical regiment is wake up at 6 a.m. and run, then have a 2-hour practice, then go to class, then take a break, then take a late night class, then go to study hall at night, and then you show up at Mercyhurst and you just play a 2-hour scrimmage and that's all you do, then I don't think that's a great prospect day. We feel as though you should be living a day in the life of that student athlete at that school, and we feel like there should be opportunity more than just that school day. Now, have players gotten recruited by going to a prospect day with just that school there? Absolutely. We're just saying that the opportunity isn't as great, and just in terms of playing the odds, it makes sense to go to something with a little more opportunity. That's all. So again, there's individual showcases out there that don't have a lot of great opportunity. There's showcases where there's only a couple coaches there. There's showcases where there's tons of kids. There's showcases where there's millions of fields. So you got to do your research, right? We like to say, if you call that showcase up, and let's say you can't get anyone on the line, you leave a voicemail, and they don't get back to you, that's a problem. You should be able to get someone on the phone and ask questions about their event. And if you don't, then some red flags should go up, right? Send an email. If you don't get a response, then that's a problem. Because if a college coach is reaching out to that tournament coordinator or if that individual showcase, whoever's working that individual showcase, and that college coach can't get a hold of them to work the event, then obviously a lot of coaches aren't going to come to the event. You got to make sure that you do your homework, and you got to make sure that it's a legitimate event, whether it's a prospect day or an individual showcase. There's opportunity everywhere. You just got to make sure you're going to the right places. Do you want to address this question here,
Brandon?
Yeah, so we mentioned before that the one-day event receives a critique by the coaches. We just got a question asking whether or not we get the same thing happens at the conclusion of the 3-day event.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's a great question. Again, feedback is important at all of our showcases, which is why we provide feedback at all our events. We do send the same exact email to you after you attend the legit showcase in terms of evaluating different parts of your game and also providing some notes. The only difference is at the legit event, the evaluation is coming from the high school coach and the college player that coached your team. So the evaluation, it's not coming from a college coach, it's coming from a high school coach. But to be honest, they're with you for a longer period of time. So we feel as though that evaluation at times might even be a little more accurate, right? Whether a high school coach or a college coach is doing it, I mean, I think there's benefits to both. With that said, with the legit showcase, you have a coach that's with you for, he's going to see you at a 2-hour practice. He's going to have a little 2-hour training session, excuse me. He's going to have a 30-minute practice with you. He's going to see you in 4 games, and he might even see you in the AllStar Game, because the high school coaches and the college players that work our event will be at the AllStar Game. So you'll get an evaluation based on what those coaches see you throughout the camp. Okay, great. All right, another big question that we get, the difference between the Premier and the legit. We did cover, I would say, pretty much all of this in the presentation. If you just like to take a little, I think you can actually take a snapshot of our slides, which we will send you guys via email. So if you want to see these slides, we are more than willing to share them with everyone on the call. Just please send us an email. We'll get those out to you right away. But keep in mind, you can take a snapshot of these slides. I think if you go into settings in the go-to meeting, and what is it under? I think it's under preferences. So if you go into settings and preferences, you can take a snapshot. You'll see here a quick debrief of the difference between the two. We have, let's get this out of here. This isn't right. Let's see here. So the Premier Showcase, you'll see it's a 1-day event versus the legit, which is a 3-day event. Players are coached by high school coaches, college players, prep school coaches at the legit, college coaches over at the Premier. In terms of college coaches attending, it's pretty similar. In terms of the types of schools that are attending, there's a little bit of variation, but a lot of the same coaches that come to Premier come to legit because they have a nice experience and kind of gives them a little different look at the players and how they can recruit. Both events are sponsored by Cascade Maverick and Lacrosse Recruits. The price range is different. Obviously, with the legit, you're getting a lot more in terms of the gear and the amount of play and the training. Keep in mind, I don't think we mentioned at the legit, the players are required to stay in the dorms over at LIU Post for 2 nights. We have air-conditioned dorms, and they eat in the cafeteria, so all of your meals and all of your rooming are paid for. All of the gear is paid for. All of the apparel is paid for.
They also have linens and pillows and blankets. You don't have to bring that, which is kind of cool.
And you don't have to schlep all your linens, which is always nice. Keep in mind, you can get more expensive packages because you can also purchase the footage. You can purchase a highlight video, and you can even purchase a Lacrosse Recruits membership. That's something that you can do as well. It's just an option. It's definitely not required, but it's something that you can do. All right, so FLG is constantly trying to educate people at our events, people that just want to know more about us, people that love lacrosse, people that love sports, people that have a passion just for living, right? We post on our social media about all different topics. We talk about leadership, we talk about development, we talk about drills, we talk about studleets, we talk about becoming a better coach, we talk about ways to improve your club program, your high school program, ways to improve anything you can imagine, and we post it all on our social media. So if you want to know more about what we do, we post all this stuff up here for a reason, because we want to share what we know. We want to share our experiences. It's a free way to get it out to the world, and that's something that we believe in. We believe in educating people, and we believe in helping students through the recruiting process. Another big reason that we use and are aligned with a lot of the companies that we work with, such as a Lacrosse Recruits, or such as a Power Tech, or such as a Cascade Maverick, is because they're about empowering student athletes. They're about giving them a great experience, right? They're about giving them the best of the best, which is what we believe in. So that's kind of the stuff that we like to talk about on our social media. You can see on YouTube, we have a lot of videos. We have promo pieces. We do developmental videos. We do Whiteboard Wednesdays, which we do a little chalk talk to teach some players and coaches about different drills, skills, and techniques. And we post daily on our blog. So, we have a bunch of different staff members, me included, that are constantly posting content that's, a little outside the box, stuff that it's all original, right? We might repost a couple of things. We might see something in a video that we might take and put it out there on our blog. But most importantly, we write things that are from other areas of life, right? We might see something in Forbes magazine. We might see something in men's fitness. We might see something from one of the best female CrossFit athletes. We might see something from watching an NBA game, right? We like to tweak that, pull that, take that Studley concept and put it out on our blogs. So that's something that we highly recommend you follow. And also follow our social media because, again, it's free and it's a way to get yourself better and learn more. So if anyone has questions about something that we maybe necessarily did not cover over the course of this last hour here, please feel free to type it in. You can even speak if you want. If you want us to unmute and allow you to talk to the rest of the group, which I know can sometimes be a little intimidating, you're welcome to do that. But please make sure to type into the chat box right now if you have any more questions for us. And we'll make sure to cover that for you guys right away. Any questions you want to cover here?
Yeah. How do you get our son and daughter's contact info?
Okay, cool. So one question that just came in is basically how'd you get our son or daughter's contact information? So for the most part, it was through a nomination from a prep school coach, a high school coach, or a college coach working the event. We also, our staff member are out watching games and highlight videos. So sometimes we see players online and we see players live, and that's how we end up nominating players. So that's also a big part of the process. So that's kind of how we get players' names and information. That's how we invite players. All of our invites are online. We send emails. So that's how you sign up for our showcases. If you're interested, it's through an email or through our website.
I'll tell you a quick story about last year. Every spring, Corey and myself go out and watch some of the FLG select players on Long Island. And we were out watching two of our attackmen that were already committed that played for Shore-and-Wading River High School. And we saw them play against another young man for Kings Park High School. And we were watching the game. I was sitting with the dads, the FLG dads, and I was asking about one of the players that was playing attack with their two boys. And I said, oh, he's a good player. Where's he going to college? Oh, he's not committed. So I said, oh, have his dad give me a call. So we invited him to both our showcases last summer. At the premier showcase, he received 11 offers. That young man is going to be attending next year Brown University. Those are the ways. I mean, there's so many different ways to get exposure, but you want to send film. We accept nominations from high school coaches, club directors, college coaches. College coaches that are working our events send us all their recruits. I mean, there's one school in Philadelphia, Division III school, who sent us 350 nominations because they had 350 in their database that they want to look at. And we invite all those young men. So, if you have a friend that coaches, feel free to have them nominate their best players.
Another question that just came in, can we select our roommates at the legit event?
I'm going to answer that one. Last year we allowed it, and it was complete chaos because we couldn't have an RA for an area. We want to have an RA, which is the assistant coach, the college player, for a team. So you might end up with one of your roommate choices because he's on your team or she's on your team. But the way it works is it's quads of 8. So it's like 4 bedrooms of 2 with a living room. So if you have a team of, let's say, 20 kids, you'll have 2 quads and then a half quad. And that's how it works, and that's how we do it.
Another question we just came in, do parents stay at the legit event and watch the games?
Yeah, you can if you want to get a hotel room. I mean, some did. Some came and watched the games. It's really up to you. We'll send out the schedule before the event so you could, figure out when your son or daughter is going to be playing their games. And then you could just ask me, it goes by age. So you'll be able to know that my 2019 is playing at 9:30, 1:30, and 6:30. And then you know that you can obviously plan stuff around that.
If parents want to come watch games, we think that's great. Obviously, with the one-day event, there's a lot more parents there because they stay with their boy or girl that's competing in the event throughout the day. We just ask that you respect the college coach's space, right? The coaches, a lot of times, they're right up on the sideline wanting to watch games, write down notes, discuss recruits even sometimes throughout the game with other coaches that they're sitting next to. Just kind of respect their space so that way they can do their jobs, right? They're there, for a purpose. They're there to find student athletes on the boys and girls side that will help them win conference championships, make it to the Final Four, and win national championships. So just kind of respect that for them so that way they can do their jobs, whether it be coaching or even recruiting. Also, too, with the legit event, we have a lot of parents tend to come for the AllStar Game. That's kind of the only thing that they come for. We have all the players, boys and girls, at the event coming down to watch the AllStar Game as well. So we want to let you know that's a nice opportunity to come, especially if you're going to just pop by the legit event for a little bit. That's a nice opportunity to come watch the AllStar Game and just see what happens there.
Another question we just got, do you suggest that we should buy the film before or after the event?
That's a really good question. I think it depends. Do you have film on your son or daughter already? If you don't, I think it's a nice opportunity to get film on them right away. The sooner the better, right? Whether you're a rising freshman or a rising senior, film is huge in terms of helping you through the recruiting process. College coaches are 2 times more likely to open up and respond to your email if you have video in it. And that's a stat that was accumulated through Lacrosse Recruits. Basically, they put together a lot of data from all different sports, and they came up with that. So clearly, film works. So I highly recommend you get it. Now, some parents might say, hey, I don't know if my son or daughter is going to play good. Then I think if you have a fear of your son or daughter maybe not having a great day, if consistency is a factor, then hang tight. You can always purchase the film after, right? There's no pressure to buy it before. You do save a little bit of money. It's not significant, but I think that's something you have to decide as a family. All right, so I believe that's the last question. We would like to thank everyone for hopping on our first web series, talking about our showcases, talking about prospect days a little bit, and other events that are out there. We do have more webinars to come. We will be sending an email in the next couple weeks, letting you know who will be on, letting you know what we're going to be talking about. Also, just know if you do sign up for our events, we run web exclusives, as we call them. So those are webinars just for players that are signed up for our events. So that's a little that's a nice thing that we do in terms of educating parents who are coming to our showcases and how we can help you. So thanks so much for your time here, and we look forward to hopefully seeing you guys in the summertime, or maybe having you guys tune in next time we get together. All right, take care and have a great night.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.